Sign in.
I think it's
Oh, why did you guys sign in before? Don't sign in before.
Oh, okay.
Command is actually an interesting bucket when it comes to.
Oh, yeah. See how it goes, though. But so
Yeah.
far, so good.
So far, so good. Better basic.
As far as getting the job done.
It doesn't sound like your lineup for.
Should we go in order,
Right now,
right?
no, I look for the.
Oh, yeah.
There's 3 here? No. This one here, this is gonna go in the shoulder for stuck in the traffic.
Well, yeah. That was kind of.
Yeah.
But not explicitly. Are you all signed up in order to? Oh, God.
Natasha.
They're asking that they need it for Natasha. The teacher, that one, so, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Where's it? Oh, she was.
So I kind of. And also, better now.
My sister's in.
Well.
Yeah.
The whole.
Give us this up.
It's a whole.
Yes.
Partial piece that we carved.
Did you see?
Were you able to write in Natasha's name?
No, is she not in here? Is she not in here?
No, but we left a spot for her to speak in that.
Okay.
Or you have the.
Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming back. Feels like we were just in here. I appreciate you being here and please get comfortable. There's more seating. What's that?
We go with translation.
Oh, good. We do have translation, so thank you, Miguel, for being here and doing that. Again, there's seats, guys. If you want to sit down, make yourself comfortable. We do have people signed in to speak, and this is our opportunity to make public comments. So we'll call our meeting to order, do an attendance and do a pledge of allegiance, and we'll get on to that. But as I call the meeting to order, I also wanted to say our meeting last time got a little bit out of hand. We don't like to conduct meetings like that. We do have a process. This is a formal process. We do follow an order. We do follow laws that allow the public to speak and interact with the board. administration at the school, and we welcome that. But we can't have it get out of hand. We had a lot of people talking out of turn, people talking over each other. We need to have an order to this meeting, so we're gonna really be mindful of that tonight. And there are actually laws that govern that. I mean, it's actually a misdemeanor to interrupt a board meeting, California Education Code. So we have to pay attention to things like that. We also want to just be respectful of everybody, right? I mean, we're all here with positive intent, and that's that phrase I live by. So I really want to remind everybody, parents, teachers, we all have positive intent, and that's why I live my life by. I mean, we all, when you look at your fellow neighbor, parent, student, teacher, we have to assume positive intent, right? We're all trying to do our best here. So that's why we want to give you respect, make your comments tonight, and we'll definitely hear you. But again, this is not a back and forth with the board. We're going to allow them to make comments. We will limit comments to 5 minutes each, and we're going to be strict about that. So we don't want anybody interrupting their comments. We're going to give you a full 5 minutes to make your comment. If you're signed in to speak, if you're not yet, please sign in to speak. I'm only going to take comments from people who are signed in on this list.
I think Natasha wanted to speak.
What's that?
The one who just left, I believe she wanted to speak and not signed in. So thank you for
Okay.
saying that.
She hasn't come back?
Yes.
Okay.
She's a second or something.
We'll make sure we get her signed in.
Okay. Just wanted to, so thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
Natasha.
And I think that's good. So I think, oh, go ahead. As long as everybody understands that, I think the meeting will go well.
Oh, she doesn't want to? Okay.
Okay, we will, attendance, all board members are present, and we'll start with the pledge of allegiance all together. Ready and begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Jasmine.
So I was told that this is kind of like how we address things for that are presented in other board meetings. So just addressing some of the things that were said on Friday. During Mr. Sanchez's presentation at the special board meeting, he stated that the first year he worked here, he was a superintendent CBO principal. However, this year, the board and Mr. Sanchez found it was necessary and required that he receive the $20,000 raise because he was now the principal. So just kind of wondering which one is it? Like, is it principal when it's convenient to prove a point, but not principal when rationalizing a $20,000 increase in pay? When the union asked that we wait to approve his raise until our contract was ratified so that we would operate in good faith and that we would leave the school year with a contract, we were brushed off by the board because it was implied we were out of compliance by not having a principal, and the board approved an almost $200K salary without any extra detailed specifics and a loose contract. And now here we are still without a contract for the teachers because the board is only conservative when it comes to teachers' salaries, apparently. In his presentation on Friday, he also said that Dehesa and Warner were also districts to operate under the superintendent CBO model, which what was neglected to mention is that Dehesa no longer operates under that model. And when speaking to the current superintendent, who was the superintendent CBO, he stated that when they did operate under that model, they also still had a principal and a business person. And Warren also does have a principal and a business person. And Dehesa's pay scale for their teachers is also significantly higher than ours. So I think we should not be picking and choosing which things that we point out when we're making comparisons. Secondly, it was stated many times that Dorothy was being attacked, which is a serious accusation pointing to the clear lack of comprehension, which can be discussed at a later time. However, the high and mighty condemnation of the staff immediately became hypocritical, because why is it okay for Michael Darnley to send me belittling emails, call me out by name during a board meeting, and then yell and point and say this is all because of you at the last board meeting while leaving the room? There's also been an instance of Mr. Sanchez talking down to me to another staff member when the staff member approached him on behalf of the union to ask a clarifying question. I would like an explanation on why is it acceptable to attack me via email, behind my back, and in a public forum. Next, in reviewing the notes from the special board meeting, it is also inaccurate to state that I spoke about concerns about workload due to combining jobs in the proposed proposition. That was not what I spoke about. I responded to an email and spoke about the inaccuracies of solely crediting one cafeteria staff with successes and how that was disrespectful. I spoke about the difference between CEUs and formal academic programs. I spoke about the belittling comparison of a work year between certificated teachers and a 12-month staff. I spoke on the fact that step and column is not a raise because step and column increases are considered automatic salary advancement based on longevity and education, rather than a raise or cost of living adjustment that increases the entire pay scale. While they raise an individual teacher salary, they do not increase the base salary of the district. So let's not be dense there. And I clarified that there was not a claim or accusation of fraud made, and I would like that corrected for the record. Lastly, I'm also wondering why the board meeting agenda notes from last month negate the superintendent's report and the VE report when all the other agendas from this school year have notes for those agenda items.
Can you clarify on that last point you made?
If you look at the agenda items,
Yeah.
when you click on the notes, those two parts don't have any notes, even though we both had things said.
Okay, we'll look into that. Thank you, Jasmine. Those points are well made. Thank you. Nelson.
So after reviewing the relevant documentation and the budget information shared at the last board meeting and the relevant salary schedules, it appears Ms. Davis was placed at step 19, which means that when she started at this job, her initial placement would have been step 15. Since you all shared her resume at the last board meeting, her experience starts in 2017 and is not even in schools. Regardless, that would only be an initial placement on step 5. When asked about this discrepancy, it was stated that the previous superintendent and CBO agreed that the contract came for 8 hours, while only requiring her to work 6 hours. Why would the board approve that? Why was her contract not fixed when Mr. Sanchez made her a supervisor in 2023? In the presentation, it states she will be starting her new position on step 3, when this is a new position and she does not have experience, so why is she not starting at step 1? Similar to Ms. Burke's statement, in the meeting minute notes, it states that I spoke about concerns with the salary schedule and proposed position. I asked about the rationale. It is disappointing that the staff boards are being misrepresented. I would also like that it be corrected for the record.
Thank you, Nelson. We'll try to get some answers for you. I took some notes on some of those, and if we missed some, we'll fill in as we need to. Let us know, okay? We'll continue that conversation, try to get those questions filled in for you. Annabelle.
I have a couple handouts as well, just in case you don't need it. But when looking at the salary schedule posted for the food service supervisor approved by the board and effective July 1st, 2023, I noticed some discrepancies that I'd like to request clarification on. The 6-hour salary schedule does not align across the schedule. As stated, our current food service supervisor is currently placed at step 19. If you look at the schedule for the 6-hour position, you can see that I've highlighted across annual, monthly, and hourly wages. And I have the math on there, but if you do the math, the only way the numbers align accurately is if Ms. Davis has been working about 29 days per month. Interesting to note that if the equation changes to accommodate her being paid 8 hours for 6 hours worked, the numbers align. As working 29 days per month is impossible, it makes me question who wrote and created the salary schedule, who were the checks and balances for accuracy, and who approved this. The major discrepancy in funds allocated for this position, in addition to our step placement, verify what has been stated in the past. The lack of checks and balances is a direct pathway to fraud. Interestingly, both the food service supervisor and the new coordinator of business services / child nutrition services positions have salary schedules written and created for that individual with high rates of pay without qualifications or years of experience. Does this show favoritism? An additional note of concern showing either potential fraud or favoritism or both is the salary schedule for the business manager position, approved and effective July 1st, 2024. As you can see, steps 7, 8, and 9 are highlighted, clearly showing an interesting and significant increase and subsequent decrease, effective for 1 year. This again leads to questions of who is writing this, who is checking it, and who is approving it. As Mr. Sanchez stated before, teachers should consider our years of service step increase as a raise that should be taken into account when asking for a raise in negotiations. I'm sure teachers would gladly accept a step increase as a raise if we were also receiving $20,000 for reaching the milestone of an additional year. Or if we were able to be placed either 2 steps or even 15 steps ahead of our actual experience. It is so disheartening that the teachers of our school have had to become the checks and balances to this unmitigated and unchecked power imbalance created by an operational system with one person at the top. I already brought this issue of a top-heavy operating system to the board when an issue of racial and gender-based harassment occurred and the head of HR, Mr. Sanchez, was present for the conversation but failed to either hear it and or failed to address it appropriately. A colleague who felt uncomfortable reporting it to the head of HR had to then report it to a non-HR individual who then told Mr. Sanchez, who then spoke with the employee. The board subsequently did look into the county to possibly assist with impartial HR representation, but upon hearing it was unavailable, explained that Mr. Sanchez would continue to be the most appropriate head of HR. Even in the meeting on Friday, when a parent asked what would occur if they had a problem with Mr. Sanchez, it was stated that they should direct their concern to Mr. Darnley. However, parents may not know how to access Mr. Darnley. Additionally, Mr. Darnley would have to defer to Mr. Sanchez because he too is not HR. Again, if everything funnels through one person, this doesn't show neutral or impartial pathways. Teachers at Vallecitos do their essential work every day, educating and caring for the children of our community, while also completing additional tasks, serving on various teams, and often volunteering our time to meet the needs of a small district. Teachers want the best for the kids, our community, and to be recognized and compensated for our work. Seeing the families here tonight speaking up, seeing students go without structured disciplinary hierarchy, and seeing the union go another year without a contract, but with an insulting proposition of a raise, shows that this board and our superintendent do not have the same priorities. How disappointing that in our additional free time, we now have to come to board meetings to fight for our voices to be heard and to work to ensure the integrity of the financial offices of our district due to lack of oversight.
So we're all taking good notes on this stuff and trying to get some of these questions answered for you. I mean, it may come in the form of a letter. There's a lot of questions being raised tonight, so we want to make sure we get them all answered. So we might have a staff letter. We'll have to discuss the best way to get some of this information back to them. Next, we've got Chelsea.
Similar to Mr. Teran and Mrs. Burke, my notes state that I spoke about concerns about workload due to combining jobs and the proposed position, when in reality, I addressed an email sent to staff and clarified inaccuracies. I asked about clarification in tasks and contradictions in the job description and what was being told to rationalize the position to staff. I spoke about the staffing numbers and the full-time sub brought in to complete portions of the principal job we pay Mr. Sanchez for, and the diminished support staff have seen without a principal who rarely stays after school. So I would like that to be corrected for the record. Also, I noticed that the agenda for the closed session is regarding labor negotiations. That's typically on the agenda for closed session, even when we're not engaged in negotiations. So I was just wondering if that could be fixed.
We get information. He updates us on negotiations, so that's what that forum is for.
We haven't
Pretty quick to answer that.
met in a couple months.
We get updates monthly. I mean, I don't know, like maybe it's just a reminder. I mean, if there's no development, then we just get a reminder, this is where we're at. That's the forum for that.
So then it should take a while.
Thank you, Chelsea. I don't think you had any questions in there, right? Just kind of clarification? Okay. All right, Ian.
I have mine printed out for you too. Probably a lot. If there's any parents that's, I try to do my best to translate, so I have Spanish versions as well, if anybody would like, that's my know. Anybody else? First off. Anybody? Good evening, board meeting members. As you know, I work here at Vallecitos, and I'm speaking tonight to express my concerns about the current administration structure and I am requesting a formal reevaluation of that structure. I fully understand that as a single school district with under 200 TK through 8 students, consolidating some of the administration positions makes practical and physical sense. Combining two leadership roles is common practice in small districts like ours. However, our current structure goes well beyond that standard approach. Currently, we have a consolidated 4 major administration functions into a single position: superintendent, principal, chief business officer, and significant portions of the business manager role. The remaining administration position combines food services supervisor duties with select business manager responsibilities, while HR functions are divided between both positions without clear delineation. My concerns are as follows. First, I can find no other precedent for this level of consolidation. While I've researched comparable small districts, I have not found a single example that combines 3 or even 4 of these major roles into one position. Small districts commonly combine the superintendent principal, which we formerly did. That makes sense for ourselves. Some combine the superintendent CBO, which is what the SDCOE suggested for our school a few years ago. But combining all 3 major positions, CBO, superintendent, and principal, plus major functions of the business manager, appears to be an outlier that may be creating unrealistic expectations for one individual. Second, the impact of instructional leadership. Our students deserve a leader who can focus on what happens in classrooms, curriculum development, teacher support, student achievement, and school culture. When those principal positions, responsibilities compete with direct governance, board meeting preparation, financial management, budget oversight, compliance reporting, and business operation, something has to give. In a small school where the principal's presence and instructional leadership matter even more, this dilution of focus is concerning to me. Third, sustainability and succession planning. This structure creates significant risk for our district if that person leaves. Last board meeting, it was noted how hard it was to find one person with just 2 of those roles, becomes ill or experiences burnout. We need a structure that can function effectively regardless of who fills the position. My request, I ask that the board conduct a formal review of our administrative structure and consider reorganizing into 2 clearly defined positions. A superintendent principal focused on educational and operational leadership, and a CBO business manager handling financial operations, compliance, and business functions. This would still represent appropriate consolidation for ourselves while creating more sustainable, focused roles. If the board believes the current 3-way or 4-way consolidation is appropriate, I respectfully request specific examples of comparable small business districts or small school districts by Holiday using this model so we can learn from their experience. Our students, staff, and community deserve an administrative structure designed for long-term success and sustainability. I didn't have it on here, but I did think about it afterwards. I actually think this structure would be fantastic for either of those roles. My concern is the combined role and the combined loss that we are experiencing. Thank you for your time.
Those are great points, and we'll definitely discuss that. We can get some information. I'm not trying to start a conversation here, I would throw this out. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a district as unique as Vallecitos, entire district with 180 students. I don't think there's anything else out there like that. So it's hard to compare us to other districts, but still, your points are fine.
If you compare us to Vallecitos prior to 2021.
Yeah.
I take your point.
Definitely some points to look
Yeah,
at.
I've been doing an exhaustive search of California schools.
Yeah.
I looked Riverside and San Diego, approximately 90 odd districts. Could not find anything comparable.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you can't find a similar model. It's hard to compare administrations. So that's what makes us so unique. But thank you.
But that is my request and my recommendation. Thank you.
We'll look at that. Next is it Tanya? Tanya?
Yo quisiera hacer una pregunta. ¿Qué se está haciendo acerca del clima en esta escuela?
Her question is what's going on with bullying in the school district.
Bullying.
Bullying.
She's waiting for next.
Ok, el viernes 24 de abril vino un oficial a hablar con Mr. Sánchez. No nos han dado respuestas. Él nos dijo que nos iba a hablar para una junta. Hasta ahorita no hemos tenido ninguna junta.
On Friday, the 24th
Abril 4 de abril.
of April, we had an officer show up to the school.
Que iba a hablar con nosotros.
Okay, and the superintendent agreed to speak and have a meeting with the parents, and nothing's happened.
Ahora, él le comentó al oficial que eran pleitos de niños de 11 años.
Okay, according to her, the superintendent advised the police officer it was just kids playing, 11-year-olds playing.
Yo pienso que pleitos de niños no es que un niño le diga a otro que está con una niña y como casi tener relaciones, porque está en una escuela, no es una escuela de sexo aquí. Hablar de sexo, niños de 11 años, no creo que sea juego de 11 años de niños.
And then it was regarding, the fight was regarding the students talking about being in a relationship and taking it a step further. And she said that's not right for those students to have that conversation at that age.
No sé si no se puede hacer nada o vamos a seguir en esta escuela así.
She wants to know what can we do to fix it.
Ahora, mi hijo desde el año pasado, ya lleva 2 años, desde el año pasado, con sus insultos, que lo llaman gordo y cosas así, el niño ha bajado mucho de peso, no quiere comer. Su papá, de hecho, le dice, su papá está en la cárcel y el niño le dice, se burla sobre él, pues por lo que su papá está en la cárcel.
Okay, so her son since last year has been bullied, called obese. Students lost a lot of weight. He gets bullied regarding his father, because his father is incarcerated, and it's been nonstop.
Si no quieren ver, ¿cómo se dice? Cuando ven evidencias físicas o algo, pienso que ese es un pequeño trauma que le están afectando a los niños. No es algún golpe que quieran ver para poder hacer algo. Eso les está afectando.
She wants to know what kind of proof you guys need to start acting on it.
Clarify, Miguel, if she's spoken with Mr. Sanchez.
No, recientemente con
Right?
Según él iba a pedir la junta con nosotros, llevamos 2 semanas y hasta ahorita no nos ha llegado.
She's waiting for him to set up an appointment.
Esto ya pasó desde hace tiempo, todo eso está pasando desde hace tiempo y es lo mismo.
That's been happening for a while now.
El día que yo hablé con él, me dijo que yo le dije que si algo pasaba, que si se peleaban un accidente, que yo tenía miedo que algo pasara. Él me dijo que no era su problema, que era mi problema.
Okay, so she said that if something did happen higher than what's going on right now, that apparently he said it would be on them and not on the district.
Entonces tendría que ir otra vez a poner una orden para proteger a mi hijo, que es lo que tengo que hacer.
So she wants to know if she has to go to the sheriff's department to put in a complaint to him.
I was going to ask you to clarify with her if she brought up the sheriff deputy on campus. Was she upset that they didn't do more, that the sheriff deputy didn't do more, or what was the?
Y cuando vino el oficial
El 24.
no sé, pero ¿cuál es la queja que tiene ahorita es con el oficial o con el distrito?
No, pues ¿cómo me voy a quejar con el distrito? Sí. Es obvio, ¿no?
Yeah, she said mostly the district, but the district hasn't responded to anything.
Fui a buscar a ver si me podían ayudar con otra opción, porque pues es obvio que no me puedo quejar con el distrito.
Then she said that she went back to check with law enforcement again to see what else she can do.
Ahora, yo tengo 2 hijas que estuvieron aquí y nunca había pasado eso. La más grande tiene 23 años, sacando cuentas hace mucho tiempo, pero nunca había pasado eso hasta ahorita.
Yeah, she had 2 older daughters that came here and nothing ever happened, like what's happening.
We're getting time towards the end of our time allotment for this speaker. Can you just encourage her to talk to Mr. Sanchez directly?
I'll follow.
Espérale.
She'll be waiting for the message.
Are we doubling the time for translation?
I think we're good. As long as her points are made, we can even go over that. You know, it's not,
Just making sure it's fair.
does she have anything more to say?
You know, tiene otra pregunta. That's it.
Gracias. Thank you, Miguel. Next is Veronica.
Pues yo estaba de acuerdo con la señora. También mi hijo sí, en 2 ocasiones sí llegó golpeado. Le llegó a golpear la nariz y llegó con un morete por un cuadrito. Yo le dije, ¿quién te lo hizo? Y me dijo, Héctor. Y le dije, ¿pero por qué? Dice, no sé, dice, me metió el pie y se me tumbó al suelo y luego me pateó. Y le dije, sí.
Okay, so she says that she agrees with the same situation that she had. Her son came home with a bruise on his nose and a bruise on his stomach. And one of his classmates was the one that tripped him and bullied him.
Ya, y le digo, pues, no le dice a tu maestra, dice, sí, dice, pero me mandan a la oficina y que hable con el director. Y le dijo, entonces yo vine 2 veces, hablé con el señor. Y me dijo, no se preocupe, vaya a su casa, vamos a tomar cartas en el asunto. Nunca me levantan.
Okay, she said she came and spoke to Mr. Sanchez twice, and he said he would take care of it and let her know of any messages or just the situation that happened. And she's still waiting for the call or the message from him.
So she spoke with Mr. Sanchez?
Yes, twice.
Sí.
So what was the end result after the
He
conversation?
hasn't gotten back to her.
Sí, porque hay muchas veces, yo no sé, bueno, la señora de la oficina ya sabe que me ha faltado muchas veces por lo mismo que dice la señora, lloraba porque lo tenía en la escuela. ¿Por qué? Dice, más que me hacen burla. Con mis niños, su apellido es Calvillo, le llaman caballo. O sea, por...
So they're making fun of his last name, and then it's gotten so bad that he doesn't want to come to school. He cries and he doesn't want to show up. Because of the bullying he's been through.
Sí.
And that's it.
Can you let both of them know we're really sorry that we're going through that, but we'll do our best to get to the bottom of it? Thank you. Christian? Is that right? Oh, Christian.
Yeah, so same thing, before my son Matthew, we had an issue with this kid, we went off for a while. And yesterday he came with a contract, something like that. Which seemed a little bit unfair because he was telling me that yesterday he couldn't play soccer because the other kid was playing. So he had to sit on the bench with the other kid. And that's why it seems a little bit unfair. And like she was saying, I just don't want things to escalate.
Christian, can you clarify, did you say contract?
Yeah, I did signed contract.
Okay.
I signed it this morning, but I was rethinking, I was like, it's not fair for my son not be playing his favorite sport, you can say, because the other kid is playing, you know, pretty good, so that's pretty much it.
Have you spoken with Mr. Sanchez about
No, not me personally, but my kid's mom, she has, I think it hasn't been once, it has been a couple of times. And I think as far as I know, it can go on, so nothing been done or.
your son's mom? Did she get clarification on the contract? It sounds like you have some questions about that. Did she get those clarified with Mr. Sanchez?
Couldn't answer that question.
Okay. Would you like to talk to Mr. Sanchez? Would that be helpful for you? What are you
No.
trying to?
It seems like it's not working, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would make a difference for you to talk to him or not.
Well, I mean, you haven't spoken with him yet, right?
No.
I'm sure he would love to speak with you and get some more details about your concern.
I believe what my kid's mom is saying.
Okay.
I don't know.
So she hasn't got the resolution that she wanted yet?
No.
Okay. And what is she looking for?
No, it's like, Well, it seems like you guys aren't doing anything about it, because like I said, my son is a victim, and it looks like he's the punished one, because he's sitting in the bench while the other kids enjoying freely, like I said, and I just think it's a little unfair.
It sounds like we need to get you some clarification on why that is, what's going on. So you and your spouse or the child's mother is clear on that. Would that be helpful?
I couldn't understand your question.
Well, I'm just trying to clarify, would it be helpful for you to get some resolution on why the steps have been taken the way they have been? That there's the contract we've seen, things like that? That'd be helpful to get some clarification on all that, so you're clear on it? Well, I just want to be very specific about what you want from Mr. Sanchez.
Well, I want something to get done, because like, my son, he doesn't want to come to school anymore, also, he's being called names, so, it's hard for me to bring him from Culver to,
Yeah, I mean, I think that if we get some clarification for you, I think that might help. I mean, I haven't really gotten out of you what you'd like to accomplish, but I think if we just keep the conversation going, and Mr. Sanchez is here to talk, so if he's not able to get this resolved, you're welcome to come to a board member. We can try to help or assist from that end of things. So we're here to support you. Okay. All right, thank you, Christian. We won't forget about this. We'll keep this. I have took notes on it. Mr. Sanchez is taking notes on this. Make sure we address this. Okay. Yeah. That's everybody we have signed in to speak. Thank you for being here, everybody. All of these points are very well taken. Took good notes on these. Mr. Sanchez was over here writing feverishly. So we'll try to get some resolution.
I know I already spoke, but can I say one more comment, since I've already signed up?
Sure. We have.
As you said, we can't really compare Vallecitos admin to other businesses, we're so unique, correct? But why is it then that we can compare different salaries with other districts if we're so unique?
Well, we don't. I mean, we have our own salary schedule. We don't.
Right.
Our salary schedule is not the same as other districts.
I'm not entirely knowledgeable, so I may just be speaking without the background information, but it kind of seems like during negotiations, that's probably what they talk about, right? How comparable.
This is kind of a sensitive topic. We've got parents here. We really can't get into negotiation discussions.
No, I know, but I'm just like curious as to how something could be compared and something could not be compared. All right. Just wanted to say that. Thank you, Tom.
Like I said, salary schedules are all different across every school. Ours is different than another school, so it's just the way it is. All right, thanks, guys. We will now adjourn and go into closed session.
Talk about only labor negotiations, so it should be pretty quick. No updates. Closed session, they go talk. But they should only be talking about labor negotiations, and since we haven't met and discussed anything in labor negotiations, and that's the only thing on the agenda, it should be very short. It should be like, no, it should definitely not be an hour.
Why do you keep recommending people to talk to my phone when they haven't talked to me yet?
This is what we're talking about, right? Christians. Oh. I'll let you know what's going
Yeah, like an open floor. Well, you have to sign up for it. If you heard something, go through sign up for it, like, yo. So, yes.
Yo no la he escuchado eso. Yo no la he escuchado.
Sí, pero yo ya tengo como mi razón mía por estar aquí con mi hija.
Él no pudo venir ahora, pero yo necesitaba
I'm Give a throw and a misdemeanor. Apparently interrupting the flow of meetings in the California school of law.
Oh, that was during the you were saying something.
That was his opening.
That was
So much of it. Your tenant will then fine. Said, yeah, we can invite to take one all the wealthy areas. Yeah.
yeah, I got it. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, because she worked
That's what he said.
Yeah. Alrighty. You know which one? Trev, you know which
Why are you staying? We know you. Why are we doing this?
And then I was like, so when I turned around, I see
I think all of us. And then all these, just be here.
So timely. Yeah, well, it's nice to have something that's not all on board. So trying to get the she's by the strawberry farm.
Yeah.
Is that 5? I don't know.
that might be it. And they also like.
Oh, the nurse.
Yeah. Also, in my notes for myself, at the end of the year, I now have new teachers. We talked about that. They can give your reason Oh, I know. Everybody, I have to be something like
Oh, yeah.
She had her desk, and then she
Did you hear that? Mom was like, what do you mean? I can play about you all the time. And she was like, yes.
until like, they don't send it out. You have to go.
What about Jamie and her face?
Ours is good.
I know.
So you search for it.
Well, that's. We just have the white, we have the white painted out. Oh, I know, right?
Well, that's how we came to So,
I don't know, I would rather have.
did you see that? I was like, are you?
An extra one of those with the double lines?
Yeah, there were plenty of extras.
I just need one because she didn't get one. I just didn't have it. I didn't have that one. She got it.
No.
Or they don't let me use it.
Oh, you know.
Date and time stamped.
I wanted to say, can I say something? Yeah. You don't know what no contract is. You know what you mean.
Yeah. I'm like right here. Like we're she's only working.
No, never thought that.
So like this. This one is
Was he wearing a,
You know what you signed up for?
Higher presentation.
No, I wasn't. Sorry. I was, I don't know, seeing it.
Yeah.
We all are.
Okay, we're reconvening our meeting, the open session at 6. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. We need an approval for the agenda.
Oops. Got it way there.
Okay, no public hearing items tonight, and we're going to consolidate motion. Ritza, you in that section?
No.
Any other?
Give me my laptop. Here, please. Hold on.
Just in case you have some more questions.
I do not know.
Nothing in that whole section?
No.
I just have one question. What's that about?
So we have a student that, we transport to a neighboring district. And we run a van, to Fallbrook and Bonsall. This particular student is out in Escondido, which stretches the capacity of our transportation system, so we have to rent a car to get back and forth every month.
All right, that's all I got. Okay, I got a question about line 26, nursing consult, $800.
That's Rady's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Rady's Children's Hospital. So we contract every year with Rady's to provide nursing support for us, so like our vision and hearing screenings.
So, okay,
Sometimes we'll come in and do some staff training, those kinds of things. Yeah,
so that was that.
that was it. Most likely. I mean, I can,
So that's an annual thing?
if it's Rady's, that's what it was.
Okay, I don't think it was really, I don't know if it's specified down on the,
That's nursing.
but it was just a nursing consult. Okay, how about 7.1, the last board meeting minutes, we were gonna update those other items that Chelsea brought up. Right?
Yeah, I can bring those back next time if you would like.
Okay, and then, yeah, let's do that, because I made a note here, but it was, the item we approved was seconded by Heather, and I think we've got minutes on that. I just want to make sure we get that active. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you make a note of that?
Yeah.
Okay. And also line 63, CSBA legal services. Is that it? Is that an annual thing, or is that, what is that?
Is this the warrants or the POs?
Warrants.
So we maintain, CSBA, they are one of the legal firms that we use for retainer lines.
63.
Yeah. This could have been either a annual, like a payment, or I also had them look at a contract, and it might be a little bit of both of those, so I didn't use that contract.
Just one more question, lines 64 to 67, transportation service.
Those are field trips.
Okay.
We're taking the kids everywhere.
Okay. There's a lot of stuff in here too. So I had a question about library update. We're updating our agreement in here. Can you just give us?
So this is, so the schools are required to have a librarian, like a librarian of record.
Yeah.
Larger schools, of course, can employ a librarian. Much like with the nursing, we contract with San Diego County Office of Ed, and they serve as our librarian of record.
Okay, that's what that is. Maybe we can talk more about that, but we'll do that in future agenda items. Maybe we can revisit the idea of the library and we have some conversation about that.
Yeah, I'm still working on that part. It still won't bring in a librarian.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a whole. Providing library space is definitely on the agenda and in the plan.
Okay.
But even if we provide the library, it's very unlikely you will have a librarian.
Yeah. I get that. Let's see.
Are we gonna translate?
Not really, it's really during the break what we were talking about.
But there's parents down there.
Let's see, I have one more question here, section 4, session. Oh, with the last agenda too, with April 14th agenda, section 4, open session, we didn't make a note that no action was taken in closed session.
Okay.
We update that?
I'm gonna call you on this to get this right.
Okay. I don't think it matters too much, but just
Right.
chat. I'm with. All right, with that, motion to approve, section 7, I believe. For a second. All right, all in favor? Presentations tonight, we go on to our superintendent report.
Okay, several things. CAS testing is off and running. Appreciate the hard work of our students and teachers as they work to demonstrate the great learning that occurred this year at Vallecitos. I would also like to thank Ms. Laura for organizing the Spring Theme Art Show. That was our first one, and it was held at the end of April. Campus was open on a beautiful evening to showcase the great art talent that we have here at Vallecitos. Also, thank you to the handful of faculty and staff who showed up to support the event. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week. I'd like to thank our teachers for their hard work and dedication to the community, but I'd also like to thank our PTO and Vallecitos parents for showing up to support our awesome faculty and staff. She wouldn't have wanted this while she was here, but now that she is gone, I would like to publicly thank Sherry Wheeler for her years of faithful service to Vallecitos over the past several years. Sherry retired at the end of April, and I sincerely appreciate her help and support during my tenure. We wish her great health and happiness during her retirement. On a similar note, I would also like to announce the retirement of Mrs. Kristen Dignan. Kristen is our PE teacher. She will retire at the end of the year, and I would like to say that I thoroughly enjoyed working with Kristen. She is a true professional, maintains high expectations for all, and has built a strong health and physical education program at Vallecitos during her time here. I also wish her abundant health and happiness during her retirement. And then lastly, we had some field trips since the last board meeting. Our 6th to 8th grade visited the Museum of Making Music and also Old Town. Our 5th grade visited Grub and out of our nursery via a walking trip. And our 3rd and 4th grade students visited Live Oak Park for a presentation lesson. So we are inviting them as a partner. That's all. Next is our BE report. Jessica?
Yes, that's
Your
We're teaching. This is our first time,
okay.
so bear with us.
No problem, please.
I can get them.
Apologies, we did not get that embedded in the document.
Just give me a scoop of what's going on in her classroom. Anyway, we're not expecting anything specific.
The only thing, is the following. The VEA stands by all our statements up to this point. We also object that a special meeting was called 2 business days prior to this meeting, was held against our board policy and did not stay true to this agenda. We will not be made to feel guilty for attempting to bridge the divide between the community who does not feel that they are being heard.
We'll email our to
All right, next is 10.1. We have a presentation information from Secretary Nick for update.
Do you want to just maybe sit here and then we'll switch spots when it's your turn to go? All right, good to go. All right. I'm gonna stand over here. I don't have this memorized, so I'm gonna try not to look at the screen, but I'm going to have to at some point. So it's great to be back. The last time I was here with the board was probably about 4 years ago. So it's been some time. Since that time, I understand you guys did the application for the Eco loan, which is great, 0% interest loan for solar. Glad you guys were able to take advantage of that. And my understanding is that they just reached out and said that you guys aren't going to be awarded that with 0% interest.
You talked to Stephen?
We have spoken with them. Yeah. So you guys are in the queue, so it's coming. And the timing couldn't be better, and I'll get into why that is. So without further ado, we'll jump right into it. As I go through this, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in at any time. I have my engineer here, Brendan. He's kind of the brains behind all the operation, so he's going to get up and speak to all the technical details when we hit those slides. But jump in at any time with any questions. Excellent. If you just hit the forward arrow button. So a little review and of the benefits and the program itself. The idea is to improve the district assets, to make it a better place for students to come and learn every day and faculty to come and teach. And we want a safer and better learning environment. SiteLogic is a design, build, and operate and manage firm. What that means is we're doing the design, we're the architect of record. We're also doing the implementation, so we're the prime or the general contractor on it. And then we're also handling the O&M after the fact. So this is you're gonna be stuck with us for at least the next 5 years. We are utilizing California Government Code 4217, which is a streamlined procurement method that's in place for school districts specifically to these energy projects. If the project savings exceed the project cost, it qualifies. You're going to be doing that by a significant amount with just the solar. A lot of times we're wrapping in other measures that have no energy savings into these projects. We're only looking at solar in this particular case. Again, the student, as far as the learning environment goes, student education and community engagement, we do have some different programs. We've spoken about those, Milton, about we have various curriculums where folks come in and teach. Generally, it's middle school or above, and then we have some internships at the high school level too. So, but we can certainly have more expanded conversations about that. I'm not sure if you guys have any intentions of going out for a bond in the future or not. Okay. So what I was going to say was, if you do, there's Title 24 requirements that require the districts to have solar whenever you're doing any type of modernization or new construction. You guys don't have to really worry about that, so we'll skip that one.
I do have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Does this intersect, because we also applied for the new construction funding for that TK program? Are there any? For the TK program?
Yeah. Well, if you're building a new building for the TK, then solar is required with that. If you're bringing in portables, you're not necessarily required for that. So, yeah. Okay, gotcha. And so moving right along, but in the future, if you guys do have any plans to add space, there would, and that includes modernization too. There would be a need for that, like you would modernize the construction of the, I don't know.
We're in line for that too, I think.
For the SFB. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Okay, moving on. So we're going to try to identify any additional funding opportunities that there are, but most importantly, right now there is the federal funding is about to expire on the solar. So July 3rd is the drop dead date. So we have until then to have a contract in place and 5% of the project encumbered. That's done through the purchase of the solar modules, and the check actually has to be written by the district for the procurement of that equipment in order to safe harbor for the Inflation Reduction Act. So the Inflation Reduction Act came about late 2023. Biden signed it into effect, and it essentially took, you know what, I'll come back to that. I have a full slide on it. The other piece that we talked about, the eco financing, you guys are in line in queue, about to be awarded that should you decide to move forward, which you guys have that decision to make. Again, the IRA will cover approximately about 50% of the cost of the project will be returned in the form of a rebate. I'll get to that in more details. And then the potential state matching funds with the SFP. That's a really important one because you have to piggyback other sources of funding for the SFP. And this all qualifies for state matching funds for modernization, this work, which will open up other dollars for other initiatives, other pet projects that the district might have in respects to facility upgrades. This is just kind of the bad news, just generally speaking. We've seen, I always like to say the only things that are certain are death, taxes, and escalation. But in this particular case, SDG&E has seen very, very large spikes in increase of costs. And over the last 2 years, there was an average of 12% increase here, specifically at the district, at Vallecitos, on the energy bills. And this is just kind of to identify that, the rate of escalation is going to continue to grow, especially with things like fires and outdated infrastructure that's being replaced by the utilities. So we can only expect these prices to continue to climb pretty significantly year over year. This is the Inflation Reduction Act slide. Is everyone somewhat familiar with this, or should I go into a little bit more detail on it?
I'd like some detail on it. I was going to ask you some questions about that, so this might answer them.
Great, yeah. So the Biden administration signed this and really into existence. And what they did is they took the 26% tax credit that was available in residential, and they increased that base to 30%. They also have these different tranches, if you will, of an extra 10% based on qualifications. So I'll get back to that in a second. But what he did is he also opened it up to the public sector. Now, public sector agencies are typically tax exempt. So they don't really see this on their tax returns. So what he did is he made it what's called a direct payment. It's a rebate that comes back from the federal government at completion of the project. So the project, you do have to float the cost of the project, but then you'll see, for you guys, it's gonna be approximately 40% of your project back, and I'll explain why. So the base rate is 30%, everyone qualifies for that. The second piece is a 10% for disadvantaged communities. You guys do not qualify for that. You're not in what's called a Justice 40 community. So it has nothing to do with Title I schools. It's zoning by the federal government. You do not qualify for that. We are using all domestic products. And so that 10% would be calculated into the IRA as well. And then the last one, the fossil fuels community, you are not in a fossil fuels community. So you're not in close enough proximity to oil or coal production for that to be in effect. So really, you're looking at that 40% back from the federal government, and that's off the total purchase price. And then, so any questions about the IRA? Now, I will say that battery is something that we can come back to. So the reason it's sunsetting is the one big beautiful bill that was passed by Trump did away with the IRA. Unfortunate for our industry as a whole, unfortunate for public entities, and really just unfortunate. But politics aside, it's the IRA is done. So it's going away with the exception of battery. Battery is still going to be in place through 2032. So right now, today, the focus is going to be on solar. We can come back and address battery at a later time. And so I don't want to muddy the waters with bringing battery into this now. We're doing battery at Fallbrook and other places, but we have such a tight window to knock this out that I wanted the focus to be simply on the solar for the time being.
It sounds like to qualify, we just need to get this started and spend 5% of the budget by July.
That's exactly right. We're actually saying 6% just to be safe. The requirement is 5%, but if you come in under 5, you're in jeopardy. So we're going a little higher just to be safe. But that's all done through just the procurement of the materials. Okay. So okay, this is you.
Okay, sound good? So just want to talk a little bit about, thank Melton for the help that he's given us. So we were able to access your bills. One of the important things to think about when you're adding solar to your site is right sizing it, making sure that it's properly sized so that it can produce electricity, offset your bill, but not overproduce electricity, because if you overproduce, that gets exported back to SDG&E at about half of what you're making when you produce it for yourself. You sell it back at a lower rate.
NEM phase rate, right?
That
depends on what NEM phase.
Yes, it does.
Correct.
Yes,
Correct.
you would be in NIM 3 at this point, but that's exactly right. Yes.
The
Which
good
is even less than NEM 2, is that right?
Yes. So when I was visiting you guys back 4 years ago, it was right as we were approaching the transition from NIM 2 to NIM 3. And so we are in NIM 3, but what we didn't have back then was the IRA. So while we are dealing with NIM 3, IRA didn't even exist when I came here and spoke with you guys. So it's a little bit of a wash. I'd say the IRA is actually better.
Yeah, I really didn't count on the buyback. I mean, it's wholesale, it's almost nothing.
Yeah.
Even that too. It's not much.
Right,
Now-
so we want to size the system so that it's right sized for your campus and for your site. So our first option.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, you're right. The export rate went from 32 cents or wherever you're at now for TAT, and it went to 8 cents a kilowatt. So you're making nothing on the export anymore, which is why most folks are now coupling it with battery storage systems. So yes, but you're right about that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So we came up with a few options. This is the first option. We're calling it the rooftop only option. And this particular system is 66 kW total for all 3 roofs. And the roofs have a pretty nice layout so that we can kind of maximize the number of arrays that we have on there. You know, the nice thing about the roof system is, out of sight, out of mind. So it's making energy for you. It's got a nice clean shot at the sun. And so that's that option. And it produces about 107,000 kWh. And we also took into consideration the fact that you have a couple portables that are coming online that haven't had the COO yet, but they're coming online and they're using energy. And then there might be some more classrooms that you're going to be adding. So we kind of projected in the 120,000 kWh range for you as a bill. You don't have that right now, but we think that you will in the near future. So as you can see, it's, we're not offsetting 100% or over 100%. This particular system offsets about 89% of the bill. And it does require a full DSA review, whereas another option is more over-the-counter DSA. But this one requires the full DSA.
Yeah, do you mind if I jump in there?
Go right ahead.
Okay, so having done quite a few of these projects, so what that means is that whenever you're putting the solar, adding weight to the roof of a student inhabited space, it requires a full DSA review. And what the first thing they're going to say is you have to do a structural review, and that's a third-party structural review where they come in and they say, hey, this can support the additional weight of that system. So that'll occur prior to even going into DSA. They're going to kick it back immediately.
Does it save any cost if we have a new roof and we've got some of those reviews in place already? Or
No, you don't have those reviews in place. So, so the new roof is a modified bitumen 2-ply built-up system. In this particular case, there's a number of different roof systems. This one is difficult to do because the stanchions have to penetrate the roof and they have to be fastened to the wood deck, to the subsurface. And so, if it was a standing seam roof, for example, they'd use R-clips and panel clips. And so you don't have to penetrate the roof at all. You're fastening to the seams themselves. So there's a lot less cost with this. In this particular case, it is going to require a full DSA review. There is going to be a structural review. You're also going to have to pay for the cost of the labor and the materials of the roofing itself. And so our ask tonight is, do you want this on the roof or do you want a shade structure? Because that's going to determine who we're bringing out and who we're taking this out to bid to our subcontractors. Roof systems require a totally different labor force and different materials than the over-the-counter shade structures do, so to speak.
We had originally looked at getting shade structures and the parking, and it has added benefits beyond to the solar. It was just cost prohibitive. Can you show the shade structure?
Yeah, sure. So absolutely.
Second option.
And by the way, if this is the choice of the district, no problem, we can do it. The project timeline is just gonna take twice as long.
This is the cheapest option.
Yeah, it's 6 to 1 half dozen. It's because especially with the new roofs that you have on there, you're going to be paying for.
That's compared to all three, or that's just compared to the shade structure? Because you have another model in there, correct, with the carport?
Yes,
Right.
I do. Well, we have 2 more options. So the secondary option is going to be
Call
this.
it a hybrid option, right?
This is still going to require a DSA review of both structures because the roof is going to trigger the full DSA review for the whole project. You can't break them up. So this would be a full DSA review as well.
So
Go
for
ahead.
option 1 and 2, really, the big drawback is the lengthiness of the DSA review, right? Some of the benefits of this one is, again, you get the carport right in the front part of your site, front part of your school, front part of your campus, and it's kind of nice because you can get the shade. If you've ever seen that at other places we've gone, it's kind of nice. And this system happens to be a little bit smaller, just how we fit things in, because we need to have fire access lanes, so that's why this is sized the way it is. And that one came to 62 kW, and it offsets like 84% of your total bill. So option 3 is the shade structure. And the shade structure, we've located it out over here, sort of as a bridge between the playground area and the field area, and the benefits there are it can become an outside learning environment, it can be shade for sporting events, that sort of thing. And the DSA over-the-counter advantage reduces the length of time for the project. And it's a pretty straightforward build as far as building out there.
Also doesn't trigger any EV chargers.
And it doesn't trigger having to put in any EV chargers.
So I
How
was
many panels is that?
exactly, this is actually to scale. So if I were to cut those up, I could tell you, but
What was the question?
how many panels is it?
Oh,
Do you recall?
I do not recall. We
Could you
use
get all
a program.
structure?
Yeah, we could do it all in one structure.
Yeah, all in one structure. Yep.
Yeah. So now all the school districts over COVID have shifted from doing, some folks are still doing parking lot, but generally it requires you have to do new striping, you have to do new ADA, and you have to have new EV chargers. Secondly, outdoor learning environments became very popular during COVID. You're out in fresh air, and there was a lot of concern about open air and open fresh air learning environments, and so they became very popular. I'd say 75% of our shade canopies are now on campus versus where they were 100% in the parking lots before. So that's been a big shift in our industry.
And just to talk a little bit about the structure of this is what we call a T structure. So the columns for balance and everything, and for efficiency, the columns are in the middle. And this one would probably have 3 columns. Some of them are cantilever, like some of the ones you see in the parking lots. That's a more expensive option. We don't need to do that here. This is going to be, since you asked about the structure, this is going to be a T structure on the building of it. Yeah. So that's option 3, and that one is also about 62 kW. And here's our kind of our table that shows you the 3 options, and it gives you, and they're all pretty around the same area. Of course, the bigger one just offsets a little bit more, and it's really the only difference is, you know, the array production is very, very similar. The big differences are the constructability and the construction aspects of each option. And that's where the decision really lies.
Exactly. Yeah. So really, we're just looking at this point for your direction as to, hey, we want to stick with the roofs. Great. Then we know which crews to go to and who to have this priced out with. Or we're going to go with the shade canopy and we're going to do steel. And so
I think we'd like to see price options on everything, because that's why we kind of moved away from the shade structure before. It was just cost prohibitive.
So at this point, we're bringing out the guys and we're getting hard pricing. There's no like budgetary pricing. We're at the end of the road here. So you guys are the last ones that we're trying to figure this out for before the July 3rd deadline. And a lot of folks are in that same boat. So we just can't do that. We can't bring out that many, you know, we're going to bring out multiple different vendors for whichever one we choose. And I don't know that we have the capacity to even rally that.
Which one is the most like slam dunk?
Oh, 100% the shade canopy. That's a over the counter. So it's a pre-check design. So there will be no review by DSA. Your timeline will be half as much. They're probably both going to be comparable in price. Full disclosure though, your eco loan was only for roughly $400,000. And that was back in 2023. And pricing for the same sizing has gone up considerably, especially with supply and demand and IRA coming about and all that. So we're going to competitively bid it. We're going to have multiple electricians and multiple steel providers providing competitive bids on it. The question is, you know, are we going to be able to do that and bring out roofers and, you know, get all of that dialed in? I'm not trying to steer you one way or the other. It's just we need to know which crews we're bringing out. And unfortunately, I know it's like, I'm not trying to jam it down anyone's throat here. It's just that we don't have a lot of time. And had we had more time, we would have been able to do that. But we're at our
We have time, but if we want the rebate,
correct. And that's going to be 40.
The rebate is the timer.
Yeah, it's the 40% of the project. If you guys, if it goes past that, it would be terrible to waste that up. Yeah, exactly. You'll pay 40% more. So, and that funding is unrestricted funds. So the one thing we'd have to verify is 2 things. One, if you guys want the same system sizes, can the loan be increased? And if it can't, then we have to size down to what the loan will cover. Or pay the difference, correct, yeah. And so that's something we're working with Steve at the CEC on currently. And we're waiting for a response back from him. You know, the other thing we could talk about is battery with them. I know they're promoting batteries, but you guys aren't after hours till 9 p.m. And I just don't know that, as we discussed, you're only till 6. Peak hours are from.
Benefit of that.
Yeah, I mean, the only real benefit you could see is like at Fallbrook, we're doing a full microgrid battery backup system, 750 kW. And they're also a refuge center. So everyone has to come to their gymnasium if there's a fire or there's an issue, and they have to be able to support that offline. And so we were able to get them a lot of money through the self-generating incentive program. And I don't think you guys are a refuge center from our conversation. You said you weren't. So those dollars might not be, well, they're probably not available to you. So the battery you would essentially have to pay the full cost of, and it would be a smaller size battery here. I'm guessing probably like a 250 kW. But I don't think the juice is going to be even worth the squeeze right now. So unless you guys start increasing your after school hours to like 8 p.m. to offset the peak demand, I mean, unless you want it for resiliency, backup power, I would say skip it. Yeah.
Okay, well, we just, like you said, we haven't really had this conversation for a few years now, so
Yeah.
we have a lot of questions that we don't even know we need to ask anymore, right? So I
Yeah.
think that, we'll keep in touch. You guys have any questions?
No, I personally like the shade canopy idea
Me
myself.
too.
Yeah.
If we could, swing it cost wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like
I mean, is that that would be the path we pursue, like at least to look at for now?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great. So we'd like to schedule sidewalks next week with our, okay, awesome, great. So we'll get it rolling. And by the way, if you guys shut it down in the board meeting, shut it down, that's okay too. But we're gonna at least package it all up and give you guys, every, the option to move it forward or not. And while we're doing that simultaneously, we're working with the CEC to get your eco-loan finalized. Yep, okay, great, thank you so much.
Get out while you can.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. See you next Monday.
All right, 10.1, we go on to 11.1, this is agreement with Amber on Warren. Yeah, can you tell us anything about
Yeah,
that?
so it's a literacy platform, it has reading assessment, instruction, has tutoring built into it. We are going to use it, I believe there's no cost or reimbursed cost of TK 2, and then we will have a nominal cost for the. It's an instructional program, it is replacing, the universal screener Multitudes, thank you.
Any advantages? Yeah.
Chelsea, you might speak to that better than I can.
So it is a requirement now that we do a universal screener with K through second. So this is replacing that because with Multitudes, I had to individually give it, but this one does it on the computer, so it's a lot faster. And then it also is AI based, so it has a private, personalized AI tutor that, the upper grade kids that are struggling to read, they read to it, and then it corrects them.
Okay. Seems like it's very cost efficient too. All right, next is Next Gen Math.
This is a supplemental math program that allows students to go in and kind of practice skills. It has it's supplemental to their base tests, so it's additional practice.
It's not replacing anything, it's just kind of an extra.
Yeah, we have it this year under care for so it's something we are. Okay.
Second.
Heather seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 11.3, this is ratifying our agreement with First Student Transportation.
Yeah, this is just routine. Anytime we move kids off campus, typically we transport with first students. So this is just the annual agreement for that we've been operating on.
So we use this for field trips, special ed, everything, right?
Field trips, primarily field trips. We're doing our own special ed transportation right now. This is entirely field trips, getting kids off campus.
Heather seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, last is our agreement with Vallecitos Voyager Service.
So this is a new program. We are bringing in Step Up to Writing next year. I've worked with the program. It's been a number of years, particularly when I was in the classroom, and I was a huge fan of it. We need a resource or tool to support the teachers with the writing instruction, and this is what we went with. And I think it's a great program, and it'll be well.
Yes, oh, yes, yes.
Already made a motion, Heather seconded. Good, Liz? Okay, in section 12 tonight. Board business. What's up? Do you have anything you want to bring up?
No.
Heather?
No, but I did want to ask about the music teacher who resigned very abruptly. So are we going to replace him?
Yeah, I'm still fine. It's just finding, and if I'm not able to find anyone over the summer, what odds are that I'm gonna contract out. And now, that will potentially be problematic to bring me to the day if I can't find a certificated contracted employee. But I can certainly use that for the before and after, or more so like after school. Yeah, we are not abandoning this mission by any means, because we still get funding and all that stuff too.
Okay, because I think Fallbrook Elementary contracts, they have like an agency that works with all these schools, but it's not like a direct.
I talked to the superintendent in Rancho Santa Fe, and they hired, I think, a few of the half times. And she was gonna reach out to see if they wanted another half of them coming with us, but I haven't heard anything back. So it's tough to find it, but I'm not giving up on it.
You already have room decorated.
And
I wanted to bring up Sherry. I think we should do something special for her. It's kind of a portrait.
she made no horns. That's the thing, that's why I said, she just wanted to kind of bow out. I mean, surely, she may appreciate something like that.
Yeah, just
But
nice
no pomp or attention.
Yeah, I wasn't saying, saying we should do a party. I just present something like a plaque.
Okay, if we can get her to come down the hill, I'll try.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
Let's do something nice, something formal. And then I also wanted to talk about Site Logic, since our presenters are gone now. I'm gonna talk a little bit freer, but remind me, since it's been like 4 years, they reminded us that there was a salesman that came in and spoke, and we were really unimpressed, very pressured, and we said, no way, that's not the direction we want to go. That wasn't them, was it?
I have to look back at the notes.
Tell me what Site Logic does. This is a solar company?
They're design, they do it all. So they're like design build, they're a design build contractor, that's not the best way to say it. So
How would they compare
They
Baker
can design,
to what Baker does?
they might be very similar. The issue was that I've had difficulty getting the folks to engage. Like, yeah, and these guys have been the most like, let me help you, let's get it done. Like, so that's really.
I just want to pay a pretty huge premium for design. What?
Well, someone's gonna design it. I mean, we have to pay for it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but Baker, yeah, but I just don't want to go to a boutique company that, kind of packages things up.
And they're helping us with the loan, Baker wouldn't do that. These guys, I think, are more supportive maybe of the schools. Maybe Baker doesn't.
Baker was pretty helpful before, but then we all love those people, right?
Right, but again, they're willing to get you to a point or come in at a point.
Yeah.
That these guys will take you through the whole thing. And these guys, from my kind of experience, work more so with the schools. Baker's more commercial, residential.
Yeah.
So I think this board seems like their wheelhouse, which is why I think they navigate these programs and all that. They have the relationship with the Department of Energy. I think.
So remind me how were they working with us previously?
Who's that?
This Site Logic.
Again, I would have to go back and, because again, that was a long time ago, I'd have to go back and see if that was them with me or if maybe something Fred side or something. But, yeah, for me, the reason why they came to the door is because they've been the most helpful. Like, yeah, we can do this for you, I got those relationships out, help you out, versus the other one was, well, when you get here, call me.
Well, I am really encouraged about the shade structure. I mean, that was number one.
Well, I'm encouraged about the 40%, because we turn right around, we have 40% back, and a 0%.
Well, the 0% is huge too. That was, they did that. We could get a shade structure out of the deal too, and good solar.
So hopefully I'll be bringing them back with a cost proposal that makes sense for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I had for business.
Real quick, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, it's not really supposed to do this, but go ahead, really quick.
At 40%, you might not get that back in a full lump sum. It will go through your taxes and they'll divvy it out.
For us, it's different, because
Is it?
we don't pay taxes.
Okay.
So it just comes, yeah, in
It'll
a
come back full?
household, yeah,
Okay.
in a household, that would be more accurate, but because we are a governmental entity, it comes back different. Thank you, appreciate that.
Good point. Thank you. Future agenda items, anybody? Let's keep solar on the agenda every month, if there's no news or nothing new, let's just keep that
Standing item.
top of mind. And I also wanted to,
Back and forth.
oh, the independent learning program, I got a bit on that.
Yeah, I have a meeting with them tomorrow, so, okay, yeah, yes. So yeah, I have a meeting with them tomorrow, right after.
You should have some information.
It'll be the end of the day, like 4 o'clock.
No worries, we can just talk about it next week. With that, we will adjourn our meeting. Thank you, everybody, for being here for us and with us, be part of this conversation.
Guess he doesn't want to yell at anybody today.
Thank you. Bye.